Oh, whoa, yo, hold up. Not me, not Marshall. I show you Marshall. Listen, boxing is heating up. It's a lot been going on, and you know that means your boy Ego. I gotta give y'all the latest. Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield's pops, they bring up a very interesting point, which I'll talk about in this video. They basically say Shakur is scary, and now rules they're trying to enforce with the weight out of fear of Floyd Schofield in the upcoming fight February 22nd. And they bring up inconsistencies with the WBC and what they allow Devin Haney to do versus, I guess, how it's playing out for them. So this is going to be a good video. Subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll break it down. Kid Austin, upcoming fight with Shakur Stevenson should be a good one. Posted this, and it's an overview of the WBC rules. Says the WBC has a weight clause that requires boxers to weigh in at multiple points before a fight, right? And it's listing the WBC rules per their own website. 30 days before the fight, boxer weigh in 10% of the division limit. 14 days, boxer must be weighing in and be within 5% of the division limit. And then 7 days, a week before the fight, same rules, but within 3%. To show with the if it's a WBC title fight that you're shaving down the weight, doing a healthy and like straight up and down weight cut, as opposed to like being 40 pounds heavy 7 days before the fight, and then you gotta unsafely drop 40 pounds. Day of the fight, boxers weigh in again, not to be 10% of the previous day's weight. Consequences, failing to meet the weight clause, blah, blah, blah. So this is from the WBC's own website. The caption reads, when Devin Haney was fighting, why this rule wasn't enforced? Because he was the WBC champion in the challenger. He was the WBC champion before the Ryan fight, but challenger in a WBC fight with Regis. And this was a big controversy I've talked about on the channel. So when Devin was fighting, why wasn't this rule enforced? Now for Shakur Stevenson, they are scared and demanding we make all these weight cuts. We will do our part to make sure the fans get this fight. Please hide behind sanctioning bodies. Or it says people, not please. People hide behind sanctioning bodies. #facts. There's also an accompanying video, which I want to show right about now.
As question, where was those WBC weighing regulations and rules when Devin Haney was fighting? Is their champion and coming in super big? And fight night, y'all know fight night, we supposed to fight 148.5. That's the rule they said. I never seen Devin step in that ring fight night 148.5. It's crazy how some of these sanctioning bodies, they twist the rules for these fighters on certain fighters. Apparently Shakur must have got nervous. Please put that rule in there, you're a little too big. So that's what's going on, y'all. But we're going to make those weights. But that's what we facing. They don't want us at 100%. They scared, y'all. They scared. So now WBC got this that they implementing in this fight. So I hope they do it on all fights, where they implement their weight clauses and 3%, 7 days before weight, and 3 days before weight it's another weight. That's all this nonsense, y'all. So that's when they trying to stack the deck against you. But we gonna knock that boy out. What up, y'all? I have a fast question. Where was those WBC weighing regulations and rules when Devin Haney was fighting? Is their champion and coming in super big? And fight night, y'all know fight night, we supposed to fight 148.5.
Wow. So let me talk about it. I don't believe in cheating. I believe in fairness, and I believe in equality. So it would be a misrepresentation of everything I stand for to say that Schofield doesn't have a point, right? because that is the problem a lot of people have with sanctioning bodies, where a not so big star will have whatever belt, whatever sanctioning body belt. And then you'll read, oh, they got to fight a mandatory. And if they don't fight their mandatory and do a deal in 2 weeks, they'll get stripped. But then you'll get a guy like Canelo, and then he don't have to fight these mandatories unless he chooses to, right? And then Canelo will fail a drug test and then, you know, still be ranked right after. Like all kinds of craziness. But the point I'm making is you see across the board, a lot of the sanctioning bodies aren't consistent. If you're a Canelo or you have some pool and you're so-called the favorite, the rules apply differently to you. Schofield is taking a gamble. He has less than 20 fights. He's already stepping up in a major way to fight because Zepeda couldn't fight. And now they're saying the deck is stacked against him. And then they're trying to enforce all these little weight cuts and stuff like that because they're seeing Schofield and they're seeing like he's big, he's brolic. Instead of him just having to make the weight, the actual weight, the day before the fight and then keep it pushing, the WBC, he's basically saying they're trying to protect Shakur or Eddie Hearn, because Shakur's working with Eddie Hearn in Turkey, and they're trying to protect the favorite. And they're like, oh, now we're back to doing our jobs and enforcing it, because you see he's clearly in shape and I don't know what his weight cut is like, but the point Schofield is making is, yo, why with us? But then Devin Haney was in California where they're trying to minimize these crazy rehydrations as well. And then when it comes to Devin Haney, he was weighing more than Regis Prograis in his first fight at 140 for the WBC title in California. So he's like, why y'all doing this to my son? Why my son got to do this? So I agree with that. I think if you have a rule, that rule got to apply to everybody. And that's not how things sometimes play with politics. And I think that's wrong. I think ultimately, as a true professional, Schofield needs to make 135 the day before the fight. The WBC, to my knowledge, is the only one doing this like above and beyond, where you got to keep checking in 14 days. And who knows? They could say, oh, Canelo made weight and he did the 14-day check and then just had a fake picture of a scale. How are you really enforcing that? If, let's say, Canelo trained in Mexico and he has a picture of a scale with a number on it, and you're like, okay, he submitted that. So the WBC, this is kind of a weak protocol, because if we're really being honest, I'm sure if you have to just submit a cell phone photo or some kind of video, there's going to be ways you can manipulate it. Like a fighter can stand on their tippy toes or have 1 foot slightly off, or depending on the scale, you could rig the scale to have it like, you know, if you have a scale, like I have a food scale, you have to, if you put a cup on it and you hit tear and then reset it to 0, right? So there's just different ways you can like have an unbalanced scale or whatever, so it's going to have the wrong reading. So really, it does seem a bit much. And again, even if this is your rule, it should apply for everybody. Shakur talks a big game about I can't wait and stuff like that. So it does look bad that this is where they're at with it in terms of it sounds like they're trying to police the Schofields. That's a long story. And again, they're posing a great question. Devin Haney had the WBC fights, and we know he was rehydrating. They have whole documentaries on YouTube talking about how Devin's a weight bully and stuff like that. So I definitely believe the rule needs to be across the board fair, not just for Schofield. Because again, Schofield, he's not the favorite. Shakur's a great fighter. So he already has his own stuff. He's never fought anyone like Shakur. So he already has enough against him. You know, is this really a thing? So I will say the Schofield sound insanely confident in their ability. I have picked Shakur. I don't know if that'll change, but, you know, upon first thought of this, it seems like the deck really is stacked against Schofield, for real, for real. He wasn't at the press conference. They said it was a passport someone broke in. That sounds fishy to me. I don't really believe that. I don't know what happened. But now this weight stuff, I don't know. I will say the Schofields, they do sound confident, and I think they're going to truly try to make a statement. It's just a matter of if those words translates in the fight. Let me know what you guys think. Is the WBC being inconsistent with certain people, allowing certain things for a Tyson Fury, for example, or a Canelo, but then enforcing it and picking and choosing, like Lomachenko, right? Where's Lomachenko been since he beat Kambosos? Wasn't that for the WBC? If I'm not mistaken, let me look it up. Okay, that was for the IBO and the IBF. Okay, so that's a different belt. But you guys get the point. The bottom line is there's a lot of trickery in boxing. Let me know what you guys think.